windy today, in case you can't tell. Whew. It's windy and cold out there. Hey guys, how are we doing today? Oh man, these waves are absolutely gorgeous out there. The wind's pretty bad, as you can tell. But I still love watching the waves just crash over like that, the wind blowing at them. On my 2-year anniversary of doing van life, I was kind of thinking about a few things. And one of them was common mistakes. And when I started out doing van life, mistakes I made, I'm still making a few. You know, it's a process, a learning process. But I kind of want to go over a few things. If you're brand new in van life, if you're thinking about doing van life, got a couple things I want you guys to kind of think about, mistakes that people make, and hopefully you won't make them, or if you do, they won't be as severe as they were for me or other people. So here are some common mistakes first-time van lifers make. Number 1. Eating out too often. It is such an easy thing to do to just eat out, because when you're brand new in van life, depending on what kind of setup you have, like for me, my setup was very, very basic. I just had a gas stove, I had an ice chest, didn't have the refrigerator, had an ice chest, and it was just sometimes it was just kind of like a pain in the butt to cook. And so I'd eat out a lot. After a while, that adds up. You know, a lot. Even if you're doing like the dollar menu stuff, it adds up, and it adds up really quickly. Like before you know it, you're like, holy crap, I spent a lot of money. So even if you don't have like a refrigerator like I had, or if you don't have a stove to cook anything as of yet, look for foods that you like that are, you know, hopefully inexpensive, that don't require cooking, you know, fruits, vegetables. Most fruits and vegetables don't need to be refrigerated, or a lot of fruits and vegetables don't need to be refrigerated or cooked. You can eat them raw and they don't need to be kept cold. Or if you have an ice chest, you know, put some veggies or fruits in there, maybe a small bag of ice. Or if you have like those frozen blocks like I have that I used to use, you can get that if you have access to a freezer to freeze them. I mean, obviously, if you're traveling a lot, it's not easy to find. You're not going to find a freezer to use. I have to work static jobs still, so usually my job will have a freezer I can use. So I've been able to do that. But again, kind of look around, see what you've got, see what you can do. But you know, really try to make an effort to cook inside your van. If you want a few ideas, I have a couple of videos on cooking inside my van. Still working on things, you know, recipes, things like that, like quick and easy but delicious and hopefully sometimes healthy things to eat while you're traveling. Yeah, definitely watch out for the eating out. Plus, you know, when you're driving around, hit a drive-through. Why not? It's so easy to do, and it's before you know it, your money is spent, and that's not fun. Number 2, and this is something I did a lot when I first started doing van life, is obsess over where you're going to sleep. I mean, yes, you need to be careful. You need to make sure that you're parking legally, parking in a safe parking in a safe space. But don't obsess over it so much. Don't make, like, you know, for the longest time it was like when I got up in the morning, well, where do I want to go from here? I would look for where I could park and then go there, instead of like, oh, I've always wanted to go here and go there and check out the place. And then in the afternoon, 3, 4, or 5 o'clock, whatever, then look, okay, where's the nearest place I can park legally and safely? You know, I mean, it's definitely something important to keep in mind, but don't obsess over it too much, because I was in so many places where I could have just enjoyed myself so much more if I wasn't stressing out about where I was going to park and sleep. So, I mean, there's a balance there, you know, making sure you're parking in the right spot that's safe and legal, but don't obsess over it so much, you know. And if you're in a city that you love, like I want to check out, I went to Monterey. One of the first towns I went to was Monterey. Can't park anywhere there. But I didn't know that, and I enjoyed myself for the first few hours I was there. Then I decided to find a place to park, and then I was like, oh crap, there's nowhere to park around here. But luckily I had iOverlander, and I found a campground like 45 minutes away, and it was fine. But after that, I really did focus a lot on where I was going to sleep, and I feel like that really took a lot of the fun and adventure out of van life for me in a way. So don't obsess too much over it. Enjoy yourself, enjoy where you are, be present, be in the moment. That's what van life is all about. The adventure and the excitement. So yeah, enjoy where you're at. Be present, be in the moment, enjoy where you are. Then worry about that when it's time. Number 3 is underestimating how much van life can cost you. Now, I have not yet done a video on how much it costs me per month, mainly because I don't do a lot of full-time travel. I have to work a full-time job. I have to stay in one area for a while. So for me, it's a lot different than people who are traveling a lot. My gas bill is way low. Like basically right now, every 2 weeks on payday, I put on payday. Every 2 weeks on payday, I put $40 in my tank, and that typically will last me for 2 weeks. Occasionally, I'll go for an extra drive up here, over there, and I got to put a little more gas in. But for the most part, $40 lasts me 2 weeks because I'm not doing that much traveling. I'm working and staying in one area. So gas is a big thing. I think a lot of people think, oh, I'm not paying rent anymore, so woo, I can have all this extra money. But if you're not careful, that money just goes fast. So I would recommend, staying on top of that, making a budget. If you're traveling full time and you have like remote work or savings that you're doing this on, make a budget and stick to it. Great, you don't have rent to pay. That's an extra $800 to $1,200 to $1,500 a month you're not spending, you don't have to spend. But at the same time, if you're working remotely, you may not be making as much money as you were before, or if you're going on savings or things like that, or if you're older and you're retired, you got to make all those adjustments. So definitely one good thing to do is create a budget and stick to it. This is a great example of do as I say, not as I do, because I do not do that. I am terrible with money. Absolutely terrible with money. I'm the worst. I'm absolutely the worst at managing my money. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know how to make a budget. So, yeah. Make that budget and stick to it. Number 4, getting the wrong size van for you. This can be very tricky. I almost built out my Jetta. I had a Volkswagen Jetta, and I almost built that out because I have really bad credit, and I couldn't get a loan to buy a van. Fortunately, I had someone in my life who was in a position to loan me that money, and we made an agreement, a payback agreement, paid them back, with some little bit of interest involved. Not as much as I would have with a loan from a company, but still, I was fortunate that I was able to buy this van because this van is the perfect size for me. I'm a big guy. It's a big van. Even though I minimized all of my possessions, I still have a lot of stuff. And I love the fact that in bad weather, I've got room inside to do what I need to do. Whereas if I had done like the Jetta build or gotten a smaller van or done like a Jeep or something like that, I wouldn't have the inside room to do what I need to do. And I see people on YouTube, they're always cooking outside. I can't always cook outside. My last winter in Bend, I'm not cooking outside in 15 degrees and 3 feet of snow. Right now, it's windy. I can't go outside and cook right now. It's not going to work. So I need the inside space. One recommendation would be to, if you can, rent a van. Rent or borrow. If you know someone who's got a big van, like a cargo van, you can just kind of throw a air mattress into and a few things and go camping for a few days. Or rent a camper van. rent a Sprinter, rent a small van, rent a tiny little, you know, yeah, try them out. See what works for you, if you can. If you can't, then bear in mind, then maybe what you want to do is look at what you have, like pare down what you own to what, like okay, this is what I'm going to take with me, and I need this stuff to live in a van, and really kind of figure that out. Like, okay, this is what I have to, this is what I need to keep. How much room do I need to keep it in? And look for that. For budget reasons, you may not be able to get the van you want, and you may have to settle for something different. Or you may not need a huge van. You might go out and buy a big van and realize, I don't need all this space. I don't need all this room. I don't need a big, huge van that gets 10 miles to the gallon. I could use something smaller that gets better mileage, that, more maneuverable, So really try, if you can, look around, see what's available. If you're buying vans off, Facebook Marketplace or whatever, take a test drive, see how they feel, But that definitely is something I've heard a lot of people say, like, this is way too big for me or way too small for me. It's not working for me. So yeah, definitely do what you can to try and figure out what you need in terms of size for a van, because that's really going to be important to your quality of life living in a van. Number 5, watching way too many YouTube videos and getting the wrong idea about van life. And I kind of did that too. I had this idea, like, I'll be traveling and have an adventure and meeting all, and I've had some adventures. I've seen some really cool places. But a lot of these people, like, they've been doing it for a long time. They've got funds coming in. They can do different stuff. And not all of us can do all those things. So van life, they may have a very exciting van life, but you're not going to, or not at first. I've been doing this for 2 years, and I'm still working static jobs. I can't travel the way I want to, but I do have fun. I do, occasionally I go out and I do some camping, or I go travel here and check this place out. And I do like the fact that I can pick a different place to sleep every night, which is kind of cool. And I do live in an area right now where there are a lot of options to sleep. So I like that. Like, my days, like, I work mainly in Fort Bragg, so I sleep mainly in Fort Bragg. But my days off, I love to go down to Mendocino and just park on Main Street and watch the ocean and see those that beautiful view that I love so much. I never get tired just staring at that view, and I can stay there sometimes, and I enjoy that, and that's really nice. But I'm not having all these adventures that all these other van lifers seem to have. But also, too, they've been doing it for a long time, and B, they've figured out how to make that kind of lifestyle work for them. It takes a while, It may take you a while to create that lifestyle. It may take you a while to realize that's what you want to do. You may not want to go to a different place every single day. You may not want to be a mountain climber or a backpacker or whatever. You may not want to do what a lot of these people you see, when you're watching their videos. You may realize that, well, that's not what I want to do. That's not for me. Van life for me means something completely different. And it may take you a while to figure out what van life means for you. It's something different for everybody. So for me right now, it's the freedom to say, you know what? I want to move somewhere else, and I can do that. I don't have to give notice at an apartment. I don't have to, worry about getting a deposit back or finding a new place and paying a new deposit. I don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. I'm just like, I want to go here now. Boom, I go. I should, I give notice at my job. That's just being professional and, responsible. But other than that, it's like, yeah, I just take off. But you might have an idea of what you want, and it may not work for you. You may not be able to make it happen, so you may have to change what you want out of it. So I'm not saying don't watch YouTube videos. Definitely watch YouTube videos. See what they're doing. See what their life is. I felt I was really well prepared by watching those videos before I started doing van life, because there are a lot of things I didn't think about until I saw certain people doing it. I'm like, oh, you're right. I should have that. I should do this. And oh, it's a good idea. Like, honestly, I didn't ever thought about having a jackery or, some kind of power station in my van. I didn't think about that. I'm like, oh, you're right. I have to have electrical, So something simple you think of that's obvious, but sometimes the obvious things you don't always think about. So definitely watch them, but don't expect that your experience will be the same as theirs, because it's not going to be. And your experience will be unique to you, and it might be better. They may start watching, if you make videos like I do, they may start watching your videos going, wow, they're having a great time. I should do what they do. Or, they're good for them, They may be jealous of what you created for yourself. You never know. And the last and biggest thing is set money aside for emergencies. Have a savings account set aside for emergencies. I've got some money put aside for emergencies. I never touch it for any reason. Doesn't matter what's going on. That money is there for repairs. If I got to put the van in, unfortunately right now I don't have a whole lot, so if something happens I might be a little screwed. Or if you can't put money aside, get a credit card. Get a credit card like $1,000 limit on it, and don't use it, except for if your van breaks down. And even if the van repair only takes a couple $100 to do, they may have to keep it overnight, which means you need a motel. Yeah, because they won't let you stay in your van. If you got to park your van at a garage overnight to get it fixed, or 2 or 3 nights to get it fixed, I'm going to go out and say none of them will let you stay the night in your van. Probably most of them won't. There might be 1 or 2 that might let you do it. Or they may, if the van can be moved, they may park on the street for you. But you can't. Yeah, so you need to be prepared. You need to be, all right, my van's going to be in the shop for 2 nights. I need a motel for 2 nights. You don't get that money put aside, you're kind of screwed. And then you are homeless. And again, another do as I say, not as I do. I don't have a whole lot of money in savings. I have some, but not a ton. But, give yourself that cushion, because the last thing you want to have happen is you got to spend $500-600 on getting your van fixed, and getting a motel, and you don't have it. Then you're screwed. And if your home doesn't run, what the hell are you going to do? Maybe if you're lucky, you live somewhere where you can park your van for as long as you need to until you save up money. Here where I am, you can park in the same spot for up to 72 hours. So if my van breaks down, I have a great boss, and they let me park in the parking lot at night. And so I guess if my van broke down, worst case scenario, I could probably talk to her and say, hey, can I park my van here until I can get it fixed? And if I have to get a tow truck to put it there and park it there in her lot, but again, that's not what I want to do either. I don't want to have, even if I have that option, which is a great option to have, I don't want to do that, because I still want the freedom of being able to drive my van around and go run errands, and I don't want to have to walk all the way to the grocery store and walk all the way back with groceries. I don't want to have to walk with my laundry all the way to the laundromat and back. I don't want to do all that kind of stuff. So again, give yourself that cushion. Make sure you've got that. Take care of yourself. My recommendation would be, if you are working remotely and you're making the same amount, you're having the same income as you have when you had a house or you're renting an apartment, take whatever your rent would be and put that into savings. Pretend you're still paying rent and put it into savings. And then now if your rent's $800 a month, you do that for 2 or 3 months, you've got a nice big nest egg for yourself. If you aren't making the same amount of money you're making before, again, budget. Put that in your budget. $50, $100, $200 a month, put it into savings. Put that aside and don't touch it for anything except the emergency to fix your van. That is your van fund. So those are common mistakes that not only I see other people making, but I made pretty much all of them myself. These are all mistakes I made, except for buying the wrong size van. I bought the perfect van for myself. But again, I almost was stuck with a very small vehicle. I was actually very fortunate in that I had someone help me out with that. So, hang on. The light is hitting me right now. Can I change this? There we go. That's better. The pitfalls of filming in a van. So anyway, thank you guys for joining me again. I hope you got a lot out of this video. If there are other things that you can think of, like if you're a fellow van lifer and you made mistakes and I didn't cover them, let me know. If there's questions, anything you want to know about that I haven't covered, if there are topics that you want me to cover in a video that I haven't covered yet that you want me to talk about, let me know. Like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? How do van lifers do this? Throw them in those comments down below, and I will do my best to make a video on that for you guys. So thank you again for joining me. I appreciate everything. And if you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Helps me move up in the algorithm, get more people watching. And if you want to support me in other ways, you can become a Patreon member for as little as $4 or $8 a month. So check out the Patreon, link in the description below. Thank you again so much for joining me. You guys have a great one and have a great holiday. Take care. Be well.